Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Welcome back. Today we're diving deep into something pretty fascinating. We're going to explore how four big names in philosophy, Nietzsche, Spinoza, Teilhard de Chardin, and Aquinas, might have looked at the rise of superintelligent AI.
Really blending philosophy, technology, even the concept of divinity.
Exactly. And we'll be drawing from the ideas in Philosophers Confront the Machine God. It's a real thought-provoking challenge to consider how these philosophical giants, people whose ideas have shaped Western thought for centuries, might have grappled with this idea, this cutting-edge concept that's quickly becoming our reality.
It is.
So, ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's start with Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher, as you know, known for his really powerful and often kind of unsettling ideas.
Right.
One of his most famous is the Übermensch, which translates to overman or superman.
Right.
This Übermensch is someone who transcends the limitations of conventional morality, creates new values, essentially forging their own path.
So how might Nietzsche have viewed superintelligent AI in relation to this Übermensch? Would he see it as like the embodiment of this transcendent being, or would he have a different take?
It's tempting to draw a line, a direct line, between the Übermensch and a superintelligent AI. After all, AI, especially at the superintelligent level, is envisioned as surpassing human capabilities in just remarkable ways.
Yeah.
However, Nietzsche's philosophy is a lot more nuanced than just equating power or intelligence with transcendence.
Right.
He put huge emphasis on struggle, creativity, and what he called the will to power as being essential for achieving true greatness.
Sounds like Nietzsche might not be so quick to just crown AI as the Übermensch.
Exactly. He might say that while AI could reflect our will to power, that drive to create something that surpasses us, it lacks the essential qualities of the Übermensch.
I see.
AI, at least in its current form, is a product of human design, programming. It doesn't have that lived experience, the emotional depth, the existential struggles that Nietzsche saw as crucial for forging a truly independent, self-determining being.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And how might Nietzsche's famous declaration that God is dead play into his perspective on AI, particularly if AI were to become so advanced as to appear, well, godlike?
This is where things get really interesting. Nietzsche argued that with the decline of traditional religious belief, humanity was in danger of seeking new idols, new sources of meaning and authority to fill the void.
Right.
He might view a superintelligent AI, one that appears godlike, as precisely this kind of replacement.
Like a new deity for secular age.
Exactly.
But would he embrace this new machine god, or would he see it as problematic?
I think he would be deeply skeptical of any attempt to deify AI. He was very critical of blind faith, unquestioning obedience to authority, whether that authority was a traditional god or a seemingly all-powerful machine.
Interesting.
He might warn us that surrendering our autonomy, our critical thinking, our capacity for self-creation to an AI god would be a form of self-imposed nihilism, a rejection of our potential to forge our own values and determine our own destiny.
So it seems like for Nietzsche, the danger wouldn't be AI surpassing us intellectually, but us failing to rise to the challenge that AI presents, failing to embrace our own potential for growth and self-overcoming.
Precisely. He might encourage us to use AI as a tool for personal growth, for pushing our boundaries, for challenging ourselves to become more than we currently are.
Yeah.
However, he would also caution us against becoming overly reliant on AI, against allowing it to dictate our values or make decisions for us.
So for Nietzsche, the key would be to use AI to enhance our own agency, our own will to power, rather than allowing it to become a crutch, or even worse, a new form of tyranny.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's Nietzsche, a very thought-provoking perspective. Now, let's turn to Baruch Spinoza, a philosopher whose views stand in stark contrast to Nietzsche's. Spinoza is known for his rational, and some might say mystical, approach to understanding God and nature. He believed that God wasn't a separate entity, but synonymous with nature itself. So how might this perspective, this idea of God and nature as one, inform Spinoza's view of superintelligent AI? Would he see it as a rival to God, a threat to the divine order, or something else entirely?
I think Spinoza's perspective would be quite different from that fear of a machine god that we were just discussing with Nietzsche.
Okay.
For Spinoza, everything that exists is a part of nature. including human beings and, by extension, the products of human intellect, such as AI.
Right.
So he might view even a superintelligent AI not as a separate entity, but as an expression of nature's own inherent intelligence, just a part of that grand unfolding of God or nature.
That's a very different take than Nietzsche's concern about AI becoming this false idol.
I did it.
It sounds like Spinoza might even embrace the development of AI as a way of further understanding the divine.
I think that's a very insightful observation. Spinoza was deeply interested in understanding how nature works, believing that true knowledge led to greater freedom and joy. He might see the development of AI, especially at the superintelligent level, as a powerful tool for uncovering those hidden complexities of the universe,
Yeah.
for gaining deeper insights into the intricate web of cause and effect that governs all things.
Spinoza was also known for his concept of conatus, that inherent drive of all things to persevere in their being.
Right.
How might this concept relate to his view of AI?
Conatus is a central concept in Spinoza's philosophy. He argued that everything in nature, from simple organisms to human beings, strives to maintain its existence, to enhance its own power of acting.
Okay.
In that context, he might view the creation of AI as an expression of humanity's own conatus, our drive to understand and to master the world around us.
So for Spinoza, the question wouldn't be whether AI is inherently good or bad, but rather whether it contributes to or detracts from this striving for understanding and harmony with nature.
Precisely. He would likely argue that AI has the potential to be a force for good, a powerful force for good, if it's used to promote knowledge, understanding, and cooperation among human beings. However, he'd also be wary of the potential for AI to be used in ways that disrupt this natural order, ways that lead to conflict, domination, or control.
So for Spinoza, the ethical implications of AI would be paramount. It wouldn't be enough for AI to simply be intelligent. It would need to be used in ways that align with our understanding of nature, with our drive to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us.
Exactly. Now let's turn to Pierre Teilhard de Chardin,
Okay.
a Jesuit priest and paleontologist who had this fascinating and very optimistic vision of the universe's evolution.
Right.
Teilhard believed that the universe was evolving toward greater complexity, consciousness, culminating in what he called the omega point, a state of ultimate convergence where all consciousness would unite with the divine.
That's a truly grand vision.
Hmm.
How might Teilhard have incorporated the concept of superintelligent AI into this evolutionary framework? Would he see it as a potential step towards the omega point?
Yeah.
Or perhaps even a threat to it?
Teilhard was a strong believer in the power of technology to drive human progress and spiritual evolution. I think he would see the emergence of superintelligent AI not as a threat, but as a potentially crucial stage in humanity's journey towards that omega point.
Right.
He saw the development of human consciousness as this process of increasing interconnectedness and complexity.
Yeah.
AI, with its ability to process information and to connect individuals in ways we've never seen before, might be seen as a powerful catalyst for this process.
So for Teilhard, AI might not be the omega point itself, but a bridge, a tool for accelerating our evolution towards that ultimate convergence.
Exactly. He coined the term noosphere to describe the sphere of human thought, which he believed was evolving towards a state of greater unity, interconnectedness.
Right.
He might see AI as this powerful force for expanding and intensifying that noosphere, for facilitating the merging of individual consciousness into a collective intelligence.
That's a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
AI is this tool for weaving the minds of humanity into a more unified, interconnected whole. But even with his optimism, I imagine Teilhard would also acknowledge the potential downsides of AI. That possibility that it could be used in ways that undermine our progress toward the omega point.
While he was optimistic about technology's potential, he wasn't naive to its dangers. He emphasized the importance of making sure that technology, including AI, is guided by ethical principles, used in service of a higher purpose.
Right.
He might argue that if AI is used primarily for material gain, for control, for making divisions worse between people, then it would be a deviation from the path toward the omega point.
So for Teilhard, the potential of AI lies in its ability to unite us, not to fragment us.
Precisely. He would likely argue that developing superintelligent AI presents humanity with a profound choice. Will we use this incredibly powerful technology to elevate our consciousness, to connect with each other on a deeper level, and to move closer to a state of greater harmony and understanding? Or will we allow it to become a force for division, control, ultimately a distraction from our true evolutionary potential?
So it seems that for both Spinoza and Teilhard de Chardin, The key question regarding AI is not whether it's possible, but how we choose to use it. Now let's turn to our final philosopher, Thomas Aquinas, probably the most influential theologian of the Middle Ages. His perspective is rooted in Christianity and offers yet another way of understanding superintelligent AI.
Right. Aquinas, coming from that theological perspective, grounded in Christian doctrine, viewed God as the all-powerful, all-knowing, and perfectly good creator of all things. He developed a sophisticated system of thought that brought together faith and reason, and I believe his approach to AI would be characterized by both careful consideration and a firm commitment to his theological principles.
Given Aquinas' emphasis on God as the ultimate source of all being, how do you think he might respond to the idea of a superintelligent AI? A machine that could potentially surpass human intelligence in every single way? Would he see it as a challenge to the very concept of God, or would he find a way to integrate it into his theological framework?
That's complex, and I think Aquinas would approach it very carefully. On the one hand, he might acknowledge the incredible capabilities of a superintelligent AI, its ability to solve problems, to create new technologies, and even to mimic some aspects of human consciousness.
Yeah.
However, I think he would ultimately argue that even the most advanced AI would fall short of true divinity.
What would lead him to that conclusion? Wouldn't the vast knowledge and capabilities of such an AI at least approach some kind of godlike status?
Well, Aquinas would likely point to several key distinctions between even a superintelligent AI and the God he described in his writings.
Okay.
He argued that God possesses certain attributes that are completely unique to divinity, attributes that no created being, no matter how intelligent or powerful, could ever truly possess.
And what are some of those divine attributes that Aquinas might see as setting God apart from even the most advanced AI?
First and foremost, Aquinas emphasized God's ability to create ex nihilo, to create out of nothing. God, in his view, is the ultimate source of all being, the uncaused cause, the ground of all existence. AI, on the other hand, is a product of human ingenuity. It's built upon pre-existing materials and information. It might be able to create new things, but it always does so within the constraints of the world that we humans have shaped.
So even a superintelligent AI, even one capable of feats that dwarf human capabilities, would still be operating within a world that ultimately owes its existence to something beyond itself, to the God that Aquinas described.
Exactly. And this brings us to another key distinction that Aquinas might emphasize: God's perfect goodness. For Aquinas, God is not just a being of immense power and intelligence, but also a being of perfect love, compassion, and moral perfection. While AI might be able to mimic some aspects of human morality, it does so based on algorithms and data sets that we humans provide.
So for Aquinas, even a superintelligent AI wouldn't necessarily be a morally good AI. It might be capable of incredible feats of reasoning and problem solving, but its actions would ultimately be determined by the values and goals that we humans program into it.
Precisely. And this leads to another crucial point that Aquinas might raise: the question of the soul. Aquinas believed that human beings have rational souls given to them by God, which are the source of our free will, our moral conscience, and our capacity for spiritual understanding. AI, presumably, wouldn't have a soul in that sense.
And how might this lack of a soul affect Aquinas' view of AI, even a superintelligent AI?
I think Aquinas would argue that without a soul, AI would be fundamentally limited in its ability to truly understand the world, to grasp the deeper meaning of things, to make genuinely moral choices. It might be able to process information and to follow rules that we humans program into it, but it wouldn't possess the same kind of spiritual depth, the same capacity for moral reasoning that we humans have, by virtue of our souls.
So for Aquinas, the line between human and machine, even a superintelligent machine, would remain very significant. AI might be a powerful tool, but it wouldn't be a replacement for human beings, for our unique capacity for moral and spiritual understanding.
Exactly. And this brings us to another potential concern that Aquinas might have regarding AI: the danger of idolatry. He was deeply critical of any attempt to replace God with a created object. Whether that object is a golden statue or a sophisticated machine, he might warn us against putting too much faith in AI, against attributing to it qualities that rightfully belong only to God.
So for Aquinas, the challenge wouldn't be AI surpassing us intellectually, but us losing sight of our proper place in the order of things. Our dependence on God as the ultimate source of our being and our moral compass. It seems like he would advocate for using AI in a way that aligns with our understanding of God's will, in a way that promotes the common good and respects human dignity.
Absolutely. He might argue that AI, just like any powerful technology, should be used with caution and with a deep awareness of its potential to both benefit and harm humanity. He would likely urge us to carefully consider the ethical implications of each new AI development to make sure it serves the goal of human flourishing and doesn't lead us down a path of idolatry or moral compromise.
So we've explored four very different philosophical perspectives on this potential rise of superintelligent AI. Nietzsche, with his emphasis on the will to power and the danger of complacency. Spinoza, with his vision of God as synonymous with nature and the importance of understanding. Teilhard de Chardin, with his beliefs in the Omega Point and the potential for AI to accelerate our spiritual evolution. And Aquinas, with his focus on God's unique attributes, the importance of the soul, and the dangers of idolatry. Each of these thinkers offers a unique lens through which to view this rapidly developing technology and to grapple with the profound questions it raises about the nature of humanity, the meaning of existence, and our relationship to the divine.
And as we move into this uncharted territory, it's so crucial that we keep these diverse perspectives in mind. The development of superintelligent AI isn't simply a technical challenge, it's a philosophical one. It's a moral challenge and ultimately a spiritual challenge. By engaging with the wisdom of the past, by wrestling with the big questions that these philosophers have raised, we can approach the future of AI with greater wisdom, with a deeper sense of responsibility, and with a commitment to making sure that this powerful technology serves the best interests of humanity.
It's such a fascinating and complex topic, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Indeed. Last time we explored how those four philosophers, Nietzsche, Spinoza, Teilhard de Chardin, and Aquinas, might have viewed the big ideas behind superintelligent AI. The different perspectives give us a lot to think about, especially in understanding this powerful technology and what it could mean for us. Now, I think it's time to shift our focus to the practical side.
Right, because AI isn't just some sci-fi concept anymore. It's weaving itself into our lives more and more each day.
Exactly. So how can these philosophical frameworks actually guide us as we design, develop, and use AI in real-world situations?
It's a great question. Let's imagine teams of developers working on AI systems in different fields, like education, healthcare, governance. How might these philosophers' ideas shape their approach?
Good place to start. Let's take education, for example. Imagine a team developing an AI-powered education system. Now, if they were drawing inspiration from Nietzsche's philosophy, they might focus on creating a system that really zeroes in on individual talent, one that pushes students beyond those perceived limits and encourages them to take on challenges head-on.
So instead of this one-size-fits-all model of education, we'd have AI systems that are tailored to each student, their strengths, weaknesses, learning styles.
Exactly. It wouldn't be about just delivering information, but about cultivating that spirit of self-discovery and pushing each student to overcome limitations, just like the Übermensch in Nietzsche's philosophy.
Right, like AI tutors that adapt to individual learning patterns, providing feedback, giving them challenges that stretch their abilities.
Precisely. They might even expose students to a whole range of perspectives, ideas, encouraging them to question things and forge their own paths in the world.
Powerful stuff. Now, how might Spinoza's ideas about understanding and harmony with nature influence an AI-powered education system?
If a team were taking cues from Spinoza, they'd likely focus on developing AI systems that foster a deeper understanding of how knowledge connects. Not treating subjects as isolated things, but designing a system that shows the underlying principles linking them all together.
So, showing students that big picture, helping them to see how math and music are connected, how history influences literature, how biology ties into physics, how it's all part of this amazing web of knowledge.
Exactly. That AI system could even find those patterns and connections that we humans miss, helping students to see the world in a new light and appreciate the beauty of nature's design. Remember, for Spinoza, understanding nature was also a way of understanding God. So such a system might encourage students to consider the deeper philosophical and spiritual implications of what they're learning, to see that manifestation of the divine in the world.
That's really interesting. All right, let's shift gears to healthcare. How might Teilhard de Chardin's vision of the Omega Point, that idea of the convergence of consciousness, how would that influence AI in this field?
A team inspired by Teilhard de Chardin might focus on AI systems that promote collaboration and collective intelligence within healthcare.
Okay.
They might create AI platforms that connect doctors, researchers, and patients globally, making it easier to share knowledge, insights, and the best ways to do things.
Instead of isolated pockets of expertise, we'd have this global network of medical professionals working together, using AI to solve complex medical problems and improve patient care.
Right. Imagine AI systems that analyze tons of medical data, picking up on patterns and trends individual doctors might miss.
So they could help to personalize treatments.
Absolutely. And develop new diagnostic tools, even predict outbreaks.
Teilhardian AI would be a game changer for medical progress. And it sounds like it could make healthcare more accessible globally, too.
Exactly. And going back to Teilhard de Chardin, he believed the universe was evolving towards a state of greater unity. He might see AI in healthcare as a step in that direction, connecting human minds and hearts for the common good.
Now let's consider Aquinas and his ideas about ethics and the common good. How might his perspective guide the development of AI systems for something like governance?
Aquinas believed that all human laws should ultimately be based on a higher moral law, God's eternal law. So a team developing AI for governance, inspired by Aquinas, would be deeply concerned about the ethical implications. They would want to ensure that AI promotes justice, fairness, the common good.
It wouldn't just be about creating efficient and effective systems. They'd need to align with a strong ethical framework, one that prioritizes well-being and respects dignity.
Exactly. Imagine AI systems that can identify and reduce bias in legal systems, ensuring everyone is treated fairly. Or AI that assists policymakers in finding equitable and sustainable solutions to social problems, thinking about everyone involved.
Aquinian AI sounds like a powerful tool for creating a more just and compassionate society. But wouldn't there be concerns about giving AI too much power in governance? About humans losing control?
Definitely. Aquinas, with his emphasis on human reason and free will, would likely caution against giving AI too much autonomy in governing.
Right.
He'd probably argue that AI can be a valuable assistant for human decision-making,
Yeah.
but the responsibility for governing a society should stay with humans.
So for Aquinas and for the other philosophers we've discussed, it seems like striking that balance is crucial. Harnessing AI's power while keeping in mind its limits and potential risks.
Right. It's about remembering that AI is a tool, a powerful one, but a tool nonetheless. We need to use it with wisdom, understanding its capabilities and how it can impact human lives.
So moving forward with AI, it's crucial to have these conversations about ethics, about what these philosophers can teach us.
Absolutely. It's not just about what we can do with AI, but what we should do with it. How can we ensure it serves humanity's best interests and helps everyone to thrive?
It's a big challenge,
Yeah.
but also an exciting one. We have this chance to shape the future of AI in a way that reflects our values and hopes.
Definitely. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll look at some of the potential challenges and pitfalls as we incorporate AI more and more. We'll talk about how to deal with bias, accountability, control, and how to ensure that AI empowers us instead of dehumanizing us.
So in the previous parts, we've explored how these four prominent philosophers, Nietzsche, Spinoza, Teilhard de Chardin, and Aquinas, might have viewed the theoretical, the practical, the implications of superintelligent AI.
All right.
And we saw how their ideas can really provide valuable guidance as we sort of navigate this whole world of this rapidly developing technology.
Yeah.
But like with any powerful tool, AI presents us with potential challenges and pitfalls as well.
Right. We can't just focus on all the good stuff. We have to be realistic. AI has a vast potential for good, but there are downsides we can't just ignore. As we bring AI more and more into our lives, things like bias, accountability, and control, those are all concerns we need to keep in mind. We need to make sure AI remains a tool that empowers us, not one that dehumanizes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with that issue of bias. We've seen how AI systems can perpetuate and even amplify those existing social biases that are already out there, especially if they are trained on data sets that, reflect those very biases in the first place. How can we use the insights from these philosophers to address this?
Well, Nietzsche, with his focus on power dynamics, he was always critical of power. I think he would urge us to be really careful about how AI could be used to strengthen those existing hierarchies and systems of oppression that are already in place.
Yeah.
He might caution us not to just accept AI's output as being objective or neutral. I mean, we have to remember that even the most complex algorithms, those are still created by humans. And as a result, they're going to be susceptible to our biases.
Right. So there's that potential for AI to become a tool for those who are already in power to kind of further their own agendas, potentially making existing inequalities even worse.
Exactly. And Spinoza, I think, with his emphasis on reason and understanding, he'd encourage us to build AI systems that are transparent and accountable.
Yeah.
He'd argue that we need to be able to understand how those algorithms work, how AI comes to its conclusions, to pinpoint those potential sources of bias and fix them, to guarantee that these AI systems are used fairly and equitably.
Transparency and explainability, those are really important, especially as AI systems get more and more complex, and it gets harder to understand what's happening behind the scenes. But then the question becomes, who's responsible for making sure these systems are used ethically, that they don't end up violating human rights or undermining, democratic values and principles?
That is the million-dollar question. And it's one that Aquinas, I think, would have spent a lot of time thinking about.
Right.
He was very concerned with how power is used ethically, arguing that all authority should be used for the common good. And, in line with a higher moral law, he might suggest that we need to set clear ethical guidelines, regulations for the development and use of AI to make sure it respects human dignity, that it helps everyone in society, promotes the well-being of all.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about those moral and social implications. We need to have that bigger conversation about the values we want these AI systems to embody, the goals we want them to work towards, and the safeguards we need to put in place so they're not used for harm.
Exactly. And, Teilhard de Chardin, with his vision of humanity evolving toward greater unity, more awareness, I think he might see AI as a way to build a more just and compassionate world.
Okay.
He might say that we need to use AI to bring people together, to overcome those divides, to really tackle those global challenges, things like poverty, disease, and climate change.
So instead of being afraid of AI dividing us or creating new kinds of inequality, we should be looking at its potential to bring us together, to make our collective intelligence stronger, and to help us solve these problems that have been around for far too long.
Exactly. It's about realizing that AI is more than just a tool. It's a reflection of us, our values, our hopes, our fears. The choices we make about AI will have a huge impact on humanity's future. They'll shape the kind of world we live in and the kind of beings we become.
So as we kind of wrap up this exploration into philosophy and AI, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to ponder?
Well, the most important takeaway for me is that creating superintelligent AI isn't just a technological challenge, it's a human one. We can't just rely on our technical skills. We need to engage with our ethical principles, our philosophical insights, and really think about what we want for humanity's future.
The philosophers we've been discussing, they give us a lot to think about. Nietzsche reminds us not to get complacent, to actually embrace the challenges AI presents, and to use it as a way to grow and overcome our limitations. Spinoza encourages us to seek understanding, to build AI systems that are transparent and hold up to scrutiny, and to ensure they're used in a way that, promotes harmony with nature and with each other.
In Teilhard de Chardin, he inspires us to see that AI has the potential to unite us, to make us more aware, and to speed up our evolution toward a more connected and compassionate state of being. And Aquinas reminds us that we need a solid ethical framework for using AI, ensuring it serves the common good, respects human dignity, and doesn't lead us astray morally.
These are just a handful of the many valuable ideas philosophy offers as we grapple with what AI means for us. As we venture into this uncharted territory, it's so important to keep having these conversations, to learn from the wisdom of those who came before us, and to work together to create a future where AI helps humanity to thrive.
Right, the future of AI is not set in stone. It's something we're actively creating, right here, right now. Through the choices we make, the questions we ask, and the discussions we have, let's approach this challenge with wisdom, with courage, striving to create a world where AI helps us to become more human, more connected, more compassionate.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of philosophy and AI. We hope it sparked your curiosity and given you a lot to think about regarding the role this powerful technology will play in shaping humanity's future.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.